are some favorite design experiments, if you can talk about them, that you've run with SCAD students to improve the brand's online experience or digital experience, and what were some of the results of those?
Yeah, there's not a whole lot I can go into only because they're covered by NDA, but I'll touch on a few, and I'll start with Deloitte. Deloitte's actually our largest client, and we do a lot of amazing work with them. And this is specifically in government and public sector. And so these are big, meaty, complex problems that students are trying to solve through design. And we come from a point of view that you can solve anything through design. So as you start thinking about projects like child welfare, social security benefits, wayfinding through LAX airport, space launches. I mean, these are big, complex problems, and yet students are coming back with some amazing solutions as well too. We've launched also furniture into during the pandemic as well. So we talked about that earlier. We did a project with Mitchell Gold and Bob Williams, where we created work from home furniture of the future. What does that look like? So we came out with 3 different lines that was put into market. That solves a big problem of what was happening in the world at that time. We've done projects for Google that covers pixel, pay, and privacy. We've got 20 projects going on this fall right now that's in healthcare, creating new flight suits for zero G. We're doing some work with CBS Sports. So it's amazing to watch the students and what they come back with in terms of forward thinking, future thinking, really just unconstrained thinking and how they're solving problems.
And a lot of those things, what's really fascinating, because we tend to talk in terms of digital experiences, but almost everything we've touched on today has a physical aspect to it as well. So what are those unique challenges when you're marrying physical and digital, or that Phygital piece?
I think the unique challenge is really making it seamless, and there has to be a reward on the other side as well. We did a project here in Atlanta at Phipps Plaza where we painted this beautiful mural as what's called the green at Phipps Plaza, where it's this outdoor, beautiful courtyard that they created inside outside of some of their anchor stores. So we painted this beautiful mural, and then we created an interactive experience on top of it using Adobe Aero, which is relatively new technology for AR. And I'm on the point of view that when you're doing things with augmented reality, when you're asking somebody to take out their phone and scan it, there better be something interesting on the other side. It shouldn't just not be doing AR for AR's sake. So when we did this particular project, and this is all public as well too, when you bring it out and scan that QR code that's on the painting, you're actually in a 3D world, because AR can sometimes be very flat and very 2D. So you're inside this magic garden that's got floral chandeliers and the deers walking by and a woman with a scarf floating in the background and beautiful flowers and vegetation. It's really one of the most beautiful things I've seen, but you're actually in it. So you're walking through it, and it's got depth and it's got perspective. So how do you make it seamless? How do you make it connected? But how do you also feel like it's a reward on the other side in terms of, hey, this was something that was delightful, interesting, provided value at the end of the day? I was at a Drake concert with my son a few weeks ago, and there was a big QR code on the screen that said, pull out your Cash App and scan for a prize. I'm like, all right, I'll go for it. And so I didn't win, but my son won. He won $20. And so I was like, oh, well, that's a reward. That was delightful. That's pretty cool. So there was something cool on the other side, a little gimmicky, right? But at least there's a reward on the other side and saying, hey, you brought out your phone. Pretty cool.
How can you translate that for, say, a retailer or, healthcare company? What's an example, would you think, in terms of that reward? I love the idea of the reward of making it worth the effort, but what's an example we could think of that way?
Yeah, absolutely. I know we're doing some work at SCADpro right now with several healthcare companies, a lot in the VR space too. So there's a big interest in VR, Metaverse. So I think it's combining not only the VR space, but what does that patient care look like in an actual physical space? So what does that handoff look like from virtual reality to actual reality? And how do they intertwine? How is the information sent? What is the patient's perspective when they come in? How are they made to feel comfortable? How do they feel like they're getting their problem solved? Right. So that's a big area that we're trying to solve in terms of what does patient healthcare and actual experience look like in the physical world, and how are they being treated in the VR world as well? So we love that because it's an interesting space to be in. We think healthcare is a ripe area for this type of, let's say, call it disruption or innovation as well.
Go ahead, Nick.
I love the concept. I love the concept of everything can be solved with the design, but then you end up referring to a lot of different aspects like rocket launches and spacesuits. And how does design then match with the engineering aspects with something as technically, I guess, demanding as space travel?
Yeah, so I can't go into a lot of it, right? But
Of course.
so just to come in that from the side, when it comes to design thinking, the worst thing about design thinking is that the word design is in the title, right? It's really about a human-centered approach to solving problems. It's also about collaboration and having the right people in the room. So anytime we're doing a project like this, and even when we were at Home Depot or other companies, when we were using design thinking or doing design sprints, it was about pulling all the right people that were part of that problem. It wasn't just designers locking themselves in the room and drawing pictures of a spirit animal in the corner. It was really more about, let's get product engineering to keep us honest, to make sure that we're not creating science fiction. Can this thing actually really be built? Let's get data science in the room. How are they going to help us? Let's even get legal in the room as well too. Do we need them? Do we need marketing? Do we need buyers? So it's having the right people in the room to help solve that, to make sure that it actually can be realistic. Because great ideas come from everywhere. It's just having the right people in the room to help solve that.
And that mentality can be applied to any industry, anything you're designing, anything at all, because you're just really saying you're almost designing the process itself around creating the best experience possible by making sure the right people are involved.
Exactly. And to build on that, one of the best things we did at Home Depot, and look, we were growing at $1 billion a year in terms of the e-commerce. We grew the mobile app from 700 million to 2 billion over 3 years. We were doing some pretty amazing things. Really proud of that. But what I'm most proud of is taking design thinking across the organization. So it started very small within the interconnected experience team that I was managing. And starting at a very kind of grassroots level, we started doing design sprints and showing speed to market. We were getting features back into the app or into the experience much faster. At a lower cost as well too. So not only did we start within our own group, but then we started to scale. We started going to HR, we went to finance, we went to supply chain, and all these other groups within Home Depot started coming to us and say, show us the way, show us how you're solving problems. We even stood up a design thinking 101 through Home Depot University. Right. And that I had people coming in and taking a class. I didn't even know what organization they were with. And it's like, what do you do in Home Depot?
I attended it.
Nick was there, right?
I was there. Yeah. That was when I was an engineer. Yeah, absolutely.
So that's where you start to show impact, scale, change behaviors, and change mindset. And then really the capstone on all of this is that we did a design thinking facilitation with the ELT. So no pressure. You've got your C-suite sitting in the room. And I'm telling my CFO, Richard McPhail, Richard, you need to push past through the obvious. And he looks up at me and he's like, we should be working like this all the time. And I said, I know. And these were big, meaty problems that were facing the Home Depot. These weren't just like we were trying to figure out this feature. These were bigger, larger problems at the ELT level that needed to be solved.